What's up guys, and welcome back to this tutorial. And from now on we're gonna start enhancing our post data. So as you can see that previously we were posting data and it was coming out like this, and if you go down to your blog post page, to add a new post, you get this option over here. Now we're gonna keep the options very similar, but we're gonna change a few things about posting. So if you come down to your post activity, and let me just minimize this one, and if you go over here, post activity, go down, and if you remember how we store data inside our database, we add a child, title, desk, and an image. So you can see that inside the ID of post we have desk, image, and title. Now what we want, one more thing, is new post. You may already remember this, how we post in. So if you don't, just go back to the tutorial, or maybe start doing the app again. So here we gonna add in UID. Now this is going to be the user ID, and we're gonna set value. So this is going to be the ID of the user who is actually posting this post. So what we can do is, I'm gonna go to the private. I'm just gonna create an mauth. So it's going to be Firebase auth, and this is going to be mauth. Now we have created mauth before, but there is one more thing that you have never created, I guess. That is Firebase user. Now this is actually very similar to mauth. I'm going to tell you the difference really soon. This is going to be our current user actually. So mauth equals Firebase auth.getInstance. Now the difference is, current user is just we actually use, that is get current user method. That's actually the current user, so we can store it in a user Firebase user variable over here. So if you go down over here, what we can actually do is we can say current user dot get UID, and that way we can store the user ID inside our database. Now the thing is, we have stored, say for example, we have stored the user ID over here and over here. Now we are on the main activity, and we are trying to retrieve the post over here. What's actually going to happen, it's going to run a query for the blog to get all the blog posts. Then inside that, it's going to see that there is the user ID, and then we have to run one more query to get the name of that user using that user ID. So that's like using two queries at a time, and that's actually a good thing to do. But what I thought maybe a bit more easier to do is actually we post in the username as well with the user ID. Now remember, user ID is just for you guys. If you want to tap on the user and you want to send him to its profile page, then we're gonna need require the user ID, or else we have no use for the user ID if we are storing the user name in our database. And I hope you guys are getting me. So what we are gonna do, we're gonna retrieve the user name from our user ID, and we're gonna post it inside our database. So while we are querying the blog post, we won't have to worry about much querying. So what we can do actually here, we need one more Firebase database over here. So I'm going to say database reference, and it's going to be database users. All right, and then what we can do after this, database user, and this is going to be equal to Firebase database dot get instance dot get reference dot child, and this is going to be from the users. Now we know that inside users we have the ID. So what we can actually do, if we have already created the current user over here, what we can do is add another child over here. So we can say current user dot get UID. So we are actually querying inside this right now. All right, I hope you guys are getting me. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do over here, I'm just gonna quickly say new post, not the new post. I'm gonna say database user, and that is the current the path to the current user. Then we can say dot add value event listener. Now we are going to use value event listener to retrieve the name of the user. So I'm going to say new value event listener, and inside the on data change method, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just cut all these methods and I'm going to paste in right here. All right, So we are not actually posting the data to the database if we get any error in posting the name. So that's why I have just removed it from here and posted it inside that. Now what we can do is new post dot child, and we can say username. Then I'm going to say set value, and the value can be from the data snapshot. Now the data snapshot returns us everything inside this object over here. So what we can actually do is dot child, and the child is the name, and we can then get the value. So name dot child dot get value. So that way we can store the value of the user. Now one more thing that I want to do is, if some error happens, we don't want the user to send to the main activity. So I'm going to remove this intent from here, and I'm going to add one more thing over here, that is on add-on complete listener. Now you can add it, or if you don't want, that's not a necessary. All right, so just for confirmation purposes, I have added on complete listener. So let's say if task is successful, then we should start the intent, or else you can log the error, or if you want to toast some message, you can do that as well. But we want to dismiss the progress bar anyway if we get any error, or if we send the user to next page. So in both cases we want to dismiss the progress bar. That's why I have excluded this from the rest of the methods. So I'm going to run the app now, and let's see what happens. So for visor adb encountered unknown adb command. All right, it's still working fine though. And there is one more thing that I want to tell you guys is, if you remember from the previous part that we were getting an error, and the error was, what the heck, no changes to deploy, clean project. Our app was crashing, and it was saying that Firebase app name with default doesn't exist or something like that. Actually, I had this solution from a while, but I wasn't even looking it. I wasn't even bothering to look at our main application class. So what I actually find out from the Stack Overflow is, if you go down to your main application class, we were just using the Firebase database.get instance set plus instance enable. Instead of that, if we include an if statement that checks if the app is not empty, then only then it should set the instance. Now this is the user that posted the solution explained in detail. I'll give you the link in description if you want to read the solution, and you'll be what do you call it, you won't get any error after adding this line. So that's actually a really easy fix, but it took me a while to get it. And one more thing that took me actually a lot of time to find is a way to set up on-click listener for our Firebase recycler view. But I found the solution, and it's actually pretty easy to do it, because I don't want to make anything difficult in this app right now, because we are just into the intermediate code. So I hope we are going a bit in detail. Yep. So let the app run. Till then, what I'm gonna do is, let's delete these posts. So instead of that, I'm gonna delete the whole blog object. So it's gonna take a while, I guess, because whenever I clean the project, it surely does take a while. You can see that it's totally real time. As I delete it from there, everything is gone from the app. So let's wait for it to load. And what can we discuss till then? We don't have anything to. Let's just run. Quite time consuming. And yeah, there is one more thing that you can do actually, is if you come down to the post activity, you can see that we are posting the user ID and username. So I guess many of you guys will be able to now retrieve the username from database and show it in the blog post. So I want you guys to do that by yourself, because I'll be posting tutorial later, but if you try it by yourself, then it's a real good thing. So just like that, in our main activity we can add in where it is one more method to set username, and also in our blog class we can add in the username over here, so that way we can retrieve the username from the user. We can also retrieve the user ID as well, but that's for different purpose. We will be retrieving the user ID. So if user clicks on the username, then it should send the user to its profile page. So that's the only purpose, to get the user ID. You guys can totally skip this part, because I won't be able to cut the video, so just skip it till now. It's finishing with the Gradle build. The main reason actually is I'm not cutting the video is I usually work on Android Studio like whole day, and I don't actually have a time to cut the video and then export it, because exporting in iMovie or some other software takes a lot of time, like an hour or two, and I have to post regular tutorials, so that's kind of hectic to convert videos, crop them, cut in between, then post it. So I just skip that part. I just save the video and directly to the YouTube. Pretty easy though. Yeah, there is one more thing that just came into my mind, and that is about the next tutorial series. Now there are a few requests about doing a note app, about e-commerce app, and social app, a chat app. So we can do a poll on this one, I guess. So maybe whichever gets majority of comments, votes, I'll be doing that tutorial first, because obviously everybody wants their. Okay, so app is running, I guess. It's getting too slow day by day, I guess. I need to just reset my Mac or my Android Studio, I don't know. So I'm gonna click the add button. Let me just select the image from gallery. I'm gonna hide it just, and there we go. So I have selected my image. I'm gonna enter the post title. So let's say new post. Okay, this is very first post of this app. Then I'm gonna click the submit post button and let it post. So let's come down to the database and wait for this to post, and bam, our post is over here. Let it load the image, and let's just expand it and see what we got here. And there you can see the description, image, title, user ID, and the username. Now, as I told you guys about getting the username and displaying it on over here is actually pretty easy. All you need is to add one more string, and there you go. So I'll be doing that in next part, but till then you can try it by yourself. So see you guys.